first got to Haiti, we were looking for, treasure wrecks, and mainly we went down there to find the silver ingot that I had found the first trip. But before we went looking for the silver ingot where we hid them, we did some training with the divers on a shipwreck where I knew it was. It was a French warship called the Dissay.
So the so-called Porcelain Wreck was in an area of Haiti that was literally stacked with shipwrecks. So the Porcelain Wreck was at the top of those shipwrecks, meaning it was the most recent one, and then there were layers of other ships below it. So probably that's why they kept sinking at that area. They would run aground on the other shipwrecks and sink on top of other ones. So the Porcelain Wreck was carrying very ornate 18th century French porcelain, and there were a lot of bronze spikes recovered from that particular wreck. Back in that day, ships were wooden, held together by these bronze spikes. So most of the treasure recovered from that wreck site was the spikes, porcelain dinnerware, and a number of other small, not too valuable, but very historically interesting items.
And I went diving over it, and there was a bunch of cannon, all kinds of stuff laying down there. But it had been down there for a couple of 100 years or so. And so I wanted to test my guys and see, how they would react when they came upon a new wreck site like that. So I took my guys over there, and we went diving, and only one or two of them saw anything at all. A couple of them saw a cannon or two, but there was 52 cannons laying there, and they only saw one or two. And there was the anchors, there's all kinds of things. But that just showed you that, not everyone has an eye to see things on the bottom, because everything blends in so well after it's been down there. And so these guys would swim around, and they'd just swim right over cannons and everything and not even realize that they were there, because they blended in with the natural environment so well. And so it took a while to train my guys on how to pick things up. Straight lines are usually not made in nature. They're usually man-made, and so we did a lot of training there. And then we found a reef out there going into Cap Haitian, and we knew that there was a wreck there, and so we started doing some dives there, and we started finding porcelain, probably 1700s, early 1700s French porcelain from it looked like a French merchant vessel that had hit the reef there. But as we dug down deeper and deeper, we started finding things from an earlier wreck, sort of like maybe the 1600s or something like that, which was very odd. But then we started figuring it out. It looked like there was 3 or 4 wrecks on top of each other. So it was a mess of debris there, a wreckage that we had to pick through. And it wasn't the best time in the world, because there was Operation Restore Democracy was going on, so there was military vessels there. There was just all kinds of things going on, which made it very tough. But we did bring up quite a bit of porcelain, and we kept some of it to have it analyzed and cataloged and stuff, and then the rest of it we turned over to a guy down there called Jean-Claude Dickmar, who owned a resort there, and he had a small museum in his resort, and it was full of this porcelain that he had found. So that definitely is a nice site.
For full episodes and more extra footage, please visit www.shipwrecks.net.